Alright, you guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be reacting to my previous autism videos. So let's get into it. This video is posted almost 8 months ago, and I like to react to my old videos. So we're going to react to this video entitled I Hate Being Autistic. It's one of my most popular videos on this channel with 314 views. Oh.
Hello you guys, and welcome back to the channel. For this video,
Forgot I'm wearing good headphones.
Outside, but that is the good thing about warmer weather. I can go outside and change my environment. So this video is gonna be the honest truth, if you understand what I'm saying.
Alright.
Honest truth.
Okay, so some of you guys might find this annoying, but I am gonna pause the video periodically because I feel you guys can't hear me and the video. Yep, it says the video premiered November 10th. I actually recorded it in August or September. You can tell by my quarantine hair that the video was definitely in the summer when everything was shut down, so yep.
What should I say next? So, what I have on this today is seeing the world blindly. Remember, everyone on the spectrum has their own view of how they see the world. And I just don't understand, why people do what? Just not understanding things that could be seen as easy or obvious or common sense.
Yeah, this is a common issue with a lot of folks on the spectrum, is that they'll get made fun of and bullied, etc. for not being able to do simple tasks. Just because it seems simple to you doesn't mean simple to them. Like a lot of people who struggle with anxiety. Yeah, ordering your food is simple for you, but that doesn't mean it's gonna be quote-unquote simple for that person.
Someone without autism. I had it rough when I was in school. I have an example from the 4th grade. You know how schools are required to perform fire drills, alright? Now, at the time, nobody knew I was autistic, but they knew about ADHD. And a common trait of ADHD and autism is that the person will have an extreme sensitivity to loud noises. So the bell from the alarm was one of my sensory triggers. Now, I was afraid of it. Now, when a person with autism tells you they're afraid of a certain sound, they actually mean to say that that sound sends them into sensory overload.
Now, I don't mean to say afraid as some kind of phobia, but I mean, it causes them sensory stress, sensory overload, like I said here with the fire alarm, that it caused me extreme sensory overload, but the teachers saw it in a different way. They somehow developed the impression that I just didn't care about the fire drills. I'm not really sure. This was in the 4th grade, so I'm just trying to explain what I recall that I believe had happened.
Alert and meltdowns. Because the teachers lacked awareness about autism, even though they knew about ADHD, but autism and ADHD have sister traits. But because of their lack of awareness of ADHD, since that's what they knew about at the time, they took it as me not caring about fire safety or something. I don't know what happened, but maybe the next day or so, when I got off the bus before heading into the building of the school, the lady who helped me with my schoolwork called me over and addressed it to me and saying something about having to spend my recess learning about fire safety. I don't remember the full details, but when I think about it, it looks like that they interpreted my sensitivity to the bell with not wanting to do fire drills.
Yeah, like I said, I potentially had to give up my recess All because these teachers had no understanding. They had no understanding of the sensory issues that autistic kids and ADHD kids face. Although they knew about ADHD at the time, but ADHD and autism are sister traits. So therefore, you can have ADHD and still have sensory issues, but everybody is different. Some people will have sensory issues, some people won't, but that's the problem.
But kids these days see it as weird or odd, and that invites them to bully you. In the 6th grade, this kid hated me for no good reason. I never spoken to him, I never hung out with him. He was only in like maybe 2 or 3 classes of mine, maybe.
It's funny how he formed an opinion of me just by being in 2 classes with me. He was in my gym class and science class. Gym and science. That's it. That's it.
Never uttered a word to him and he hated me. It's like in this world, either you're fit in or you're weird or you're odd and people hate you. And I don't like that. I just hate that. Being read wrong. If I got $1 every time I was read wrong, boy, I have enough money to move to California and live in a mansion. I'm
not lying. I probably would.
This video will be an hour long if I listed every single case.
Now, this video will probably be infinity, probably.
Of being read wrong. But I have a perfect example of when I was read wrong. I was in an autism group and I posted that I hated being autistic. And I linked a video that I made. This was when I was on my Aaliyah Halt channel at the time. On one of my trials of doing gaming vlogs and tutorials. Within minutes, I get a message from the admin saying autism is a disease and all that other bullshit.
Well, but in all fairness, I said I hate being autistic. I literally linked a video for a reference. Where did he get the impression that I was implying that autism is a disease? Nowhere in my caption, because I always like to write a brief caption so people will know what content they're gonna click on. In the video itself, I never said autism is a disease. You can hate having a condition without it being a disease, for Pete's sake.
And I was banned from the group. I take it that maybe he thought I said I hated autistic people.
But I didn't. I said I hate being autistic. I hate being autistic. I hate autistic people. 2 different phrases. I think the guy just wanted an excuse to kick me out of the group. You cannot interpret I hate being autistic with I hate autistic people. Autism is a disease. Nowhere was that implied. Wait, and another thing is that he banned a guy for agreeing with me. He banned a guy for agreeing with me. That guy was agreeing with me that he also hates being autistic and he gets banned. All he did was engage with the post. Somebody did warn me about this group. It's called Autistics Worldwide, in case you guys don't know. I was in a different group and then someone posted that they got banned for something ridiculous like I did. So I'm just gonna warn you that if the admin decides to twist your words for his or her sake, he will ban you. So,
which I did not say. That's my guess. I didn't even get a chance to explain to him what happened because he blocked me. I guess instead of taking literally maybe 10 minutes or less to message me and say, hey, can you explain this post to me? The ban button was more convenient for him. I'm just sick and tired of how it's our fault no matter what when we're read wrong, instead of the person saying, you know what, I should have asked for more information, that's my bad. Now that I think about it, that one is very similar to being read wrong. Just like, for example, in a blog post that I wrote about how you can misunderstand the autistic in your life. To me, they're traits being read the wrong way, like I said earlier in the video about me having sensory issues with the bell to the fire alarm, the teacher somehow reading it as me like me not caring about fire safety or whatever impression that they got, that I just didn't want to participate in the drill or I didn't want the drill to happen. Just like if you don't make eye contact, it can be seen as rude and disrespectful. And another thing is that if a autism creator were to make a YouTube video and not look at the lens, you can bet it that people are going to point it out in the comments.
This was back in 2017 during my broke YouTuber days, where I had to use my tablet to make my videos. So, what happened was I was looking at the screen and not the lens. To be fair, it's easier for me to see the big lens on the camera than the tiny lens on the phone. Or like my webcam, it's better to see that lens than the tiny lens on the phone. And I got about like 6 comments about that. But let's just imagine that the person is autistic, and because by looking at the lens, I'm looking at you, the viewer. You gotta think, when I play the video back to edit, I'm looking at myself. I'm making eye contact with myself, which kind of feels odd, right? So that's why I've made, in the past, and I still do now, when appropriate, I make more faceless videos. Okay, and also the ring light started to give me a headache after a while, so that's why sometimes I make faceless videos. But you got to be careful with what you point out on YouTube, because you'll never know if you're pointing out something that the creator literally has no control over.
See, if they knew that the creator was autistic, and so in eye contact makes them nervous, feedback. This may be an ADHD characteristic. As a matter of fact, it is, because I saw this on a Tumblr share, that a lot of people with ADHD have low self-esteem, therefore it makes it harder for them to take feedback.
I think when I mentioned the sensitivity to criticism, I think I wrote a blog post about this. I think it all stems from rejection sensitivity, which a lot of folks on the spectrum can have. Like I said, everybody is different. Just because the person, someone you knows, doesn't have these issues doesn't mean they're not there. I mean, everyone's different. Your friends, they were spared from it, but not everybody was. So the criticism sensitivity, I think that's where it comes from. I reblogged a tweet someone made about it, and I kind of felt their tweet. I felt their tweet strongly.
And if somebody isn't aware of that, then they can develop a different opinion of the individual. It's like, I have no problem with feedback. It all depends on how you give it to me.
Okay, like for instance, this was during my broke YouTuber days. Somebody wanted channels to subscribe to, and they wanted to give feedback. They said, link your channel. And so I did. And I linked my channel trailer. Now, I had gotten a new phone, and whenever I get a new piece of equipment, even something simple like a new phone, or hey, I buy a lav mic, or I just simply learn a new trick to improve the quality of the audio or the picture or whatever. But before I could refilm my channel trailer, the person watched the old one, they said they weren't engaged and they clicked away fast. Now, the reason I saw it as them just being difficult, because they said they're supposed to be giving feedback, right? Why didn't they just tell me what I did wrong? And I said, hello, my name is Jazz. Welcome to the channel. I do this, that. So what was so disengaging about my name is Jazz, welcome to the channel? They could at least, if I said something wrong in there, they should just told me. I would have completely understood better had they just told me what I did wrong. But they didn't. And all I wanted to know was what I did or said wrong. And they're like, oh, you can't take criticism. Like, I'm trying to understand what I did wrong. So when I reshoot my new trailer, or even when I open up my normal videos, I'll know what not to say. If saying, hi, welcome to my channel is what disengaged you, then I won't say that anymore. That's all he had to say, is avoid doing this because of that,
Like, if you just say, work on your thumbnails, that means nothing to me, because it's not telling me what in my thumbnails.
Okay, I had this issue on Reddit. There's a subreddit on YouTube where if you post your link, you have to give feedback to other people, and you had to spend this currency they came up with called Lambda. They did that to cut down on spam and sub for sub and link dumping, and the guy told me to work on my thumbnails, but didn't mention what they saw that was off. Like, listen, if I don't know what's wrong, I won't know what to fix in the first place. But they said that the font, they believe the font could be better. But the problem with Canva, because that's what I used to make thumbnail in question, the problem with Canva is in order to use custom fonts, you have to pay for their pro version. At the time I made those videos, I didn't have money. Now I do, but at the time I made those videos, I didn't have money. So that's where it stems. That I wanted to I was explaining to them that in order to upload custom fonts on Canva, I have to pay for their pro version.
Need improvement. Is the text too big? The text too small? Is the image I picked not clear? Is something wrong with the font I chose? Like, what is wrong with the thumbnail? Or the audio is this. The audio is sketchy. What's sketchy about the audio? Is it too low? Is it too high? Are you not familiar with the device I'm using? Did I overlook something when I was editing? Did I pick the wrong sample rate before I export the video? You got to give me more details if you want me to implement your feedback. I can't implement your feedback if you don't tell me what's the problem, because maybe I can look it up on YouTube. And this is the way I can explain how, this happens. Okay, let's think of a wall. Pretend this is the wall, this journal.
The journal's the wall.
Autism affects social skills. So, like picking up nonverbal cues, picking up body language, that's something that our brains lack. Let's say this is on the umbrella of things associated with social skills. Like, here's what's okay to say, what's not okay to say, what what body language means, what facial expression means, what X means, what Y means, and all the things associated with socializing. The autistic brain does not have this wall. So there is nothing guiding them to know what's okay to say or what's not. Like if a person said something that they didn't know was offensive and the neurotypical says, okay, that was offensive, that was mean. They have the wall. And the wall was like, okay, that was not okay to say. The wall said, okay, that was not okay to say. Our brain didn't have that guidance that your brain does.
Now I use the journal to explain
So
it.
that's the way I can explain how, offending people without intention associates with autism, because it associates with social skills. So it makes me look like an asshole if people are not aware. And I just feel like it's exhausting playing this social game of chess and losing every time, because your brain doesn't have the capacity to filter out what's okay to say or what's not compared to someone else. If I got a dollar every time this happened, again, I'll be able to move to California and live in a mansion. And I have an example. Facebook has a On This Day feature where if you share a post, you'll get a reminder a year later. And I had shared a post to my personal Facebook where I had a collage of people who are autistic, and it said, autism doesn't have a look, because you know how you say, oh, I'm autistic, and someone says, you don't look autistic. The way I saw it, the graphic was saying, okay, this is saying that autism does not have a look. And I shared it to the group. I shared the post to a group, and this person immediately got offended by it. Immediately. Didn't even explain to me why he didn't agree with it. Now, this is the thing. The people on the thread were just saying,
this post isn't a good message. This post isn't right. I don't agree with this post.
but weren't explaining why.
I
Everybody was just coming down on me.
would have had a better understanding had someone explained what. Okay. It was a collage of autistic people, and it said, autism doesn't have a look. And then the guy came on the thread and said that something about parents of autism and inspiration porn. They seemed annoyed by the post. I had literally no clue what he was talking about. I'm new with autism advocacy. I haven't been doing it as long as other people like Indie Andy or another autistic blogger from the UK, Aspie Answers, I haven't been doing autism advocacy as long as those people. So of course I'm gonna make mistakes, or I'm gonna share a post that I thought was legit, or share from a page that I thought was legit, but actually post a lot of misinformation. It happens. You know, you could have checked their page, but they didn't scroll, far enough to see some questionable posts. It happens. Nobody actually explained, like, hey, the page that made that post, they're problematic. They've done this, they've done that, they've done questionable things. They support this person. They support Autism Speaks. See, if somebody had have explained why the post from that page upset the guy, and then I would have understood better. And if someone had given me advice on how to on pages run by actual autistic people, because if you're very careful when it comes to autistic parents, that's fine, because some of them, they do try to silence autistics. That is perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine and okay to tell someone if the information that they're sharing is not from a good source, but just automatically expecting them to know, they're just to read your mind to know what upsets you. It's like, I can't read minds. This guy thought I could read his mind to know. I've never seen that guy in my life up until he made that comment. So all I was asking is, can somebody please explain this to me? I don't understand. They were just completely ignoring that fact.
But sometimes I think people just do it on purpose to make me look bad.
I'm not saying that was the case with this guy, but if somebody's clearly telling you they have no idea what you're talking about, explain further so I can avoid this instance, and you're just completely ignoring it, that's the only conclusion I could draw. Like, I'm clearly saying, hey, I don't know what inspiration point is. I've never heard of it. Can somebody please explain it to me? And please explain how to ID these types of posts, so in the future I can avoid this. Because I have a blog. So because these people didn't explain it to me, I can on accident share a post like that on my blog, or on my Instagram, or on my Twitter, that could upset people. It can gain the attention of somebody way higher up. That's all I ask. I mean, you could say, well, Google it. Well, there's a lot of misinformation out there, so I could still go on a blog post or whatever that does not have the correct information. But if they know the proper blogs and pages to follow, that can be like, avoid this blog, because avoid this blog. Joe says they share some questionable stuff. Avoid that blog. Joe says they do this. I need to look for this, that, and that. You know what I'm saying? Because when you get into something, whether it be autism advocacy for women's rights, you are going to make a mistake. You're going to share a post that you thought was helpful that wasn't. Instead of automatically assuming the person knew and they did it on purpose, be like, hey, just so you know, that page shares a lot of problematic things. That page does this, that page does that. That page have supported organizations fighting against us. Avoid, you know what I'm saying?
Actually explaining why the post is wrong would do better if he had said, I don't agree with this post, and here's why. The people pictured are not actually autistic. They were in the page that posted that. They don't have anybody that's autistic on their admin staff.
And they do not do the proper research before making these posts. I'm going to give you some advice to help you know what pages either have done their research properly or has someone that is autistic on their staff.
Now, if he said that, like I just said right here, and I'm like, fuck you, then you can argue that I just don't care. But with everybody jumping on the thread, I'm clearly saying, hey, I have no idea what you're talking about. Somebody explain. And then they're ignoring that, you know what I'm saying? So this is why I don't like cancel culture. Because is the person really that bad, or they just didn't understand why what they did was wrong, and no one was actually explaining anything to help them understand, so they won't do it again?
And then gave me the advice to help me point it out. How hard would that would have been? Nothing. You're making it harder, stirring up a hornet's nest, instead of just saying, okay, this post is wrong, here's why. This post is wrong, okay, my bad. It's, I'll be careful with the pages I follow next time. Boom, it would have been done.
I originally started making autism content on another channel until having 2 channels burnt me out. Yeah, it did. Oh. Yep, having 2 channels did burn me out. The lack of social cues, because remember, autism affects social cues. I want to interject that everybody is different, like I said. I mentioned this in the I Hate Being Autistic video, that it just stems in the lack of ability to understand social cues and all that stuff. Everyone on the spectrum has different circumstances to that person. Now, the instances that I have are about the size of a phone book. I know, right? But I will give you one. A phone book. A phone book, you guys. That's how, that's how it's been. It's been like this since I was little. So a friend of mine, an ex-friend now, but at the time she was my friend, posted a status that she hates Father's Day. But I said, at least I loved you before he died, and she took it as judging her when I had literally no intentions to judge her. And this is one of the reasons why I talk about nothing but YouTube, video games, movies, and junk, because anything out of my alley, there is a 95% chance I might say something that hurts them without realizing it. Yeah, usually I write blog posts as well as videos just to cover things that I may have missed. But everybody on the spectrum, their obstacles are different. And I've struggled for so long to look for something where I don't have to be around a lot of people, because I get terribly anxious in crowds and being rushed and all that stuff. Yep, I decided, remote work, it fits me. And I remember for the longest time, between late 2018 and sometimes through 2019, I had trouble getting my mom to understand. Because we have what they call burnout. I think if I can go my own pace, my own flow, then I can have the energy to go out and stuff. But like, was it on a job, I'll be so burnt out, I'm gonna spend most of the time at home anyway. When people get angry at me, when I'm completely oblivious to why they're angry. So what happened was, on one of my Facebook accounts, I had someone on my friends list. We both like Undertale, right? And there are a bunch of fan pages on Facebook. Now, there's a lot of controversy with one of the ships in the fandom. There's a lot of controversy, and a lot of people do not agree with this particular ship. So this person claimed they saw my name under that page. So she goes off on me in the DMs, spamming my messenger, and I'm like, and I had no clue what she was on about. Rather than saying, hey, are you aware that this page is so-and-so? She just assumes I knew and went off. When in reality, maybe originally, when I followed the page, they were under a different name. Change your name later on, and I missed a notification from Facebook, because they do alert you when a page you follow rebrands. Example, my Facebook page is Aaliyah Holt, right? So say I change it to Gaming with Jazz. So anyone who follows the page will get an alert from Facebook saying a page you like, Aaliyah Holt, is now under Gaming with Jazz, like that. So, okay, and another thing that this person didn't realize before they immediately went off on me is that I joined the Undertale fandom in 2017. So I hadn't learned all of the non-canonical ships yet. Now the controversy is that the creator of the game said Sans is too lazy to be in a relationship or something like that. So a lot of people don't agree, aren't fully on board with him being shipped with anyone. So the ship is Franz, Sans, and Frisk. There's a lot of controversy with that ship. So this person said they saw my name. Maybe they saw a post and it had my name, Jazz Likes This. Or maybe they saw me under the like list. So there could have been a variety of instances. One instance could have been when I followed the page, maybe they weren't a shipping page. They were just normal Undertale content. and they later on rebranded. Because a lot of page users on Facebook have is where less than 10% of their followers see their posts. Or maybe the controversial post in question that got her angry, I might not have seen it. I might not have seen it. The page could change her direction. I might not have seen the post. So she just automatically assumes because she saw my name that I supported Friends. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Literally, I had no clue what she was on about. Why is it that people think all of a sudden you're a mind reader? She didn't want to communicate and be like, hey, are you aware that this page is posting inappropriate stuff? No, she automatically assumed I knew and got mad at me. So, for the love of crud, why do people think we can read minds? I just don't get it. At least, that's how I thought it was. Yeah, that's what it seemed like, just based on how the club was ran as a whole. That it was based on, because sometimes it's really tough, but disabled folks can get SSI. And sometimes it could be temporary, like if you had a surgery and then you're going to need a while to heal or whatever case, and then maybe they're ready to go back to work. Understand the obstacles I will face on the job. Yeah, I think that is partially why I got misplaced, is that the coach refused to believe I'm autistic. And therefore, that caused me to not get placed properly. In case they had groups according to the specific issue you're having. And I got thrown in an interview group. It makes absolutely no sense to throw somebody with no work experience in an interview group full of people with experience. Paper with bullet points in regards to what the goal of this program is, than just explaining and explaining, because it's hard to process all that verbal information. Yeah, right. It seems like that this program didn't understand autism at all, which goes back to the counselor refusing to believe I'm autistic, because then they could have gave me a paper with his bullet points on what we talked about the meeting. Then I can always go back to it. So I didn't add chapters for this, so we're gonna skip it. Like I said, I am gonna have the links to all videos I reacted to in the comments. And whenever I didn't send out enough applications, the coach will apply nonstop pressure to me whether you need to commit and all that stuff. Like, but seriously, how on earth do you get someone who has a disability, they're limited with the jobs that they can apply to, and they're probably struggling to find something accessible for them depending on their disability and the accommodations they're going to need? How do you get them not applying? More likely for that reason, with them not committing. Honestly, I don't know how the coach even drew that conclusion. When you're working with disabled people, you're working with disabled people. And some of them probably struggle to even get to the bus stop or the front door of a building. And you have the nerve to assume we're not committed, we're not applying for jobs. I'm just saying that maybe the person had trouble finding a job that's accessible for them, or all the jobs in their area, they couldn't get to the front door, or it was too far, or they couldn't work, or they were unable to work around medical appointments or therapy or whatever they require. Around the holidays, and a lot of companies have who they want by, I would say, Halloween or the first week of November. Yeah, it really depends. It depends on the company. Like I said, depending on where the people lived, most of the jobs in their area could have already had who they wanted, because this club started in September. And next month, it's the start of the holidays. I guess if you count Halloween, next month is the start of the holidays. So they could have already had who they wanted. Instead of the coach automatically blaming us and saying we didn't want to commit, she could have thought about those things like, hey, I didn't pick a great time to start this program, because most companies probably have who they want, and then the remainder of them are probably going to have who they want maybe by the start of November. So maybe it would have been a good idea to put it on hold until maybe the spring of the next year, because usually when kids are getting out of school, they might hire, like I said, every company is different. I'm just taking a guess. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me, but I just feel that some places might pick a specific time to hire, like when kids are out of school for the summer, or when kids are going back to school and they can fill the spots, all that jazz. It's still there, and that is that the workforce is inaccessible to people with disabilities, especially folks with autism. Like, right, what's the point of this club if nothing is being done about the root cause, which is discrimination and inaccessibility and other stuff? But like I said, I felt that this coach didn't really understand. She truly didn't understand the obstacles disabled people face in the workforce. That she thinks it's just interviews, but there's other things like accessibility, trying to work around medical appointments. You're gonna need more days off for medical appointments or symptom flare-ups. And another thing she doesn't understand is that, sometimes they can use gaps in your resume against you for if you're disabled. Especially that gap was if you need time off for a surgery or something. Okay. Like, I'm gonna have the link in the description for this video. Some people out there just don't understand how it feels. Just because they might have it and they don't do the same things you do. And when you try to explain it from your perspective, they want to say that you're making excuses. You're using your disability as an excuse, when that might not be the case. You're just saying what's caused by your disability. But that doesn't mean you're making excuses. And I have an example. So I was seeing a disability counselor to help me find a job for the past summer. And she said I was using my disability as an excuse, all because I said I wanted to be normal. It had nothing to do with my disability. I mean, just because of the lengths that disabled people have to go to get the support that they need. But I feel that this counselor doesn't really understand. Like, would you tell a blind person that they're making excuses because they can't see, or would you tell a deaf person they're making excuses when they tell you they can't hear you? They can't hear you, or someone hard of hearing, are they making excuses because they can't hear you properly? That's what I'm trying to get at. And I feel this counselor really doesn't get it. She does not get it. And that's one of the reasons why I had to leave the program, because they just don't get it. In general, I wish I'm normal. I wish I could be normal because I'm tired of having anxiety. I wish I could be normal because I'm tired of having depression. It had nothing to do with my autism, and she made that assumption. If I got $1 every time somebody told me that I'm using my disability as an excuse, I'd be rich. I wouldn't even have to look for a job. I'll be rolling around in money. That's how filthy rich I would be. Yeah, I know, right? I think that's all the videos I have for now. And I do like making autism content, like, every once in a while. I think that's it, because this video is long enough. There's a short I made. Okay, this video is almost an hour long. But like I said, I will have the chapters in the description, so you can always pick what you want. And I'm using OBS now, so I can monitor the levels better. So for like past Roblox videos where the music was out of domain, like, that's gonna be fixed because I'm using OBS now, as you guys can see. Using OBS now, so I can control the volume of the game. So that's all I have for this video. Make sure you guys subscribe for more. I'll catch you in the next video.